This is probably the video that I've been waiting to make for the longest time ever, but I just kept putting it off and I don't know why. This is the real reason that I dropped out of uni. A lot of you may know if you follow me on TikTok, Instagram, or you just know me in person. I dropped out of uni in 2023, and then that's basically how I started social media. I started making videos and documenting reasons I didn't like uni. I mean, I tried to make videos of reasons I liked uni, but I couldn't find any. And then I was like vlogging, trying to find a new job, like, because I literally dropped out with no plan or clue on what to do. And a lot of people were like, oh, don't do this, you're never gonna get anywhere, you need a degree for success, and just everything that you hear. I was just that sad and hated uni that much that I just thought, yeah, anything is going to be better than this. I've made quite a lot of videos talking about reasons I dropped out, but I don't think I ever went into depth about it. TikTok, there's only like so much you can say. I'm not going to make a 10-minute video on TikTok. So I wanted to actually talk about it because I get so many DMs, so many questions on like what made you realise you wanted to drop out of uni, and this, that and the other. It's going to be a full video, I'm not sure how long this is going to be, about every reason that I dropped out of uni. So let's go. Girls and my babies too. Also, do we like the little setup? I literally was like, I don't have anywhere to film like chatty sit down videos, so I've put this here and we're just chilling. I actually think it's quite cute. So to start off, we're going to go back to A-levels, which were the bane of my life. I have like really bad perfectionism, bad or good you could say, and I feel the need to like be the best at everything I do. Like, I'm one of them people that if I'm not the best at something, I will end up in tears. And that's obviously got me to where I am now, but it also means that I don't ever really feel satisfied with things because I always feel like I could be doing more, I always feel like I could be doing better. I did this with GCSEs. Well, I didn't sit GCSEs because I was COVID, but the revision for GCSEs I took so seriously. And then the same with A-levels. So I like didn't have a life. I was just revising all the time. I would get up, I would revise like all day. This was when it was like study leave, so from, I think you go on study leave in about April. This was like 2 months before. I was doing nothing but revising, and me and my boyfriend joke now and say like, if he didn't come into my room and bring me meal deals and stuff during that time, like I would actually be dead. I just wasn't eating, I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't going out, I wasn't seeing people, I was just revising non-stop. In April 2022, during A-levels, I found a little bug. You're probably thinking, Ellie, how is this bug relating to how you dropped out of uni? Hear me out. Found this little bug in my room, and we now know it was actually a carpet beetle. I have a really bad fear of bugs. I started obsessing in my head thinking, oh my god, there's an infestation, because I think I saw like 3. I woke up one morning and I had a bite on my leg. That sent me into a spiral. Long story short, I was like, I'm not going into my room if we've not checked everywhere. Then I was searching up, and apparently they can go in bed frames and fabric. So we binned my curtains, my whole bed was binned. Literally, like, there was nothing in my room apart from a desk and a chair, and then I ended up sleeping on a camping bed throughout my whole A-levels. So if I set you the scene, I'm revising for A-levels, I have this little camp bed in my room, and I'm doing nothing but revising. I was going under because I was like, if I don't get A stars and everything. The thing is, I didn't even need A stars to get into uni. I needed like AAB. Also in April, my mum and dad split up. I'm not going to go into that because I feel like it's not my story to share. Like, it involves them, and I don't want to do that. And as you can tell, I'm just getting into this like pit of depression and not feeling very good, not eating, not exercising. I was also working part-time at Miller and Carter, pay for my driving lessons, because I also had my driving test and my theory test during my A-levels. So I was literally like tunnel visions to these exams, not doing anything. Results day, I got A star, A star, A. Skip to September when I was going to uni. I was going to Uni of Leeds, by the way, did I even mention, and I was studying sports science. From the moment I got there, I had this really weird feeling. I was like, this is not what I expected it to be like. Honestly, day one. But I was obviously gaslighting myself because I've just gone through all of that. I've worked so hard to get to this uni. Like, that was my dream. From, you could have asked like year 7 me, it was like, go to uni, study. It probably wasn't sport in like year 7, but just study something that I really enjoyed. And I got there, I was like, this is not the vibe. It was really unstructured. So the first 2 weeks is like freshers kind of. So I was in a flat with 3 other girls. One actually went to my college and was in my biology, and we didn't even realise till spoke to each other there. So I think that flatmates and who you live with at uni plays a huge part. To put it simply, we were not the same type of girls. We were just completely different. we got on, I guess. Like, there wasn't anything bad. So I'm from Manchester, they were both from down south. They both had very rich families, rich parents. They had their accommodation paid for by the parents. They were getting money sent to them by their parents. You get the vibe. I'm working part-time. I could barely afford my food shop, and they were like asking me to go out to these like fancy places, and obviously I'm saying no because I can't afford it. Saying no quite a bit, and I could tell that they were starting to get a bit funny about it. Oh, Ellie doesn't want to do anything with us, Ellie's not doing this, Ellie's not doing that. I already didn't feel like we were similar people, and now I just felt even further from them. Like, I just felt so isolated from them, and it got to the point where I would actually just not eat because I didn't want to go into the kitchen and I didn't want them to walk in. I am such a person where I need my own space. I'm so introverted and they were so extroverted. They couldn't handle the fact that I was an introvert. And now I'd say I'm quite extroverted, but at the time I wasn't. I really didn't like it. I felt so lonely, but I was always surrounded by people. It's like I was surrounded by people that I just didn't fit. Like, I didn't fit in with at all. I was completely different. And they also had a lot of friends that went to that uni that they knew from college and from school. I was completely on my own. I didn't know anyone going, so they'd have them around. They'd already be close, like friend groups. Another thing, I'm not a big drinker, and I definitely wasn't at the time. I didn't want to be going out every day, like, drinking and clubbing, and that was another thing that they were just so confused why I wasn't doing it. And when I did a few times, I'd just be left like on my own. Like, they'd just all be talking in this group and I'd just be there on my own. Flatmates definitely plays a part, and after a bit they would like pick things apart that I did but that they were also doing, but because they were friends it didn't matter. So like, say I would leave one plate in the sink before I went to a lecture. There was so many times where they'd say like, why have you left your plate there? And I'd be like, I'm gonna clean it when I get back. But then so many times I would go into the kitchen and there'd be plates in the sink, and I wasn't bothered because I was like, you're gonna do it at some point. It's not like we all left it there for ages. But some reason it wasn't right when I did it. And I think I actually remember texting one of the girls and she was like, well, because we don't see you much because you go home at the weekends, we just didn't know if you was doing it for like to get at us kind of thing. And I was just like, wow. They also didn't like the fact I went home every weekend because we were only a flat of 4. One of the girls didn't actually go out much either, so it was kind of like the 2 girls. I think they were a bit like, I do get it, they felt like they didn't have this flat of friends that wanted to go out and do everything, but they should have just been a bit more accepting that not everybody is going to be like that. Not everyone has the money to do them things, and I just didn't want to go out. Like, that should be enough. I shouldn't have to have excuses and a reason for not wanting to go out and drink. I also feel like they looked down on me for my degree, as they were doing law and I don't remember what the other girls doing, but degrees that are considered better than sport. I just got the vibe that they looked down on me. It just, yeah, it was a very hostile environment. I think if I'd have been put in a flat with girls more similar to me, who knows, it could have been different. Let me just check my notes for what else I put. I've split it into like little categories. So then there was the actual course and actual uni itself. My course, I just felt like there was no structure, no help, no guidance, nothing. In college and school, I've always had really personal relationships with the teachers and the tutors where they like know me and they help me, and I just felt like uni wasn't like that. I felt like my lecturers didn't even know who I was. Like, they literally wouldn't have even noticed if I didn't go. And I get it, there's a lot more people. We're supposed to have a personal tutor, I think it was called. You can like email them, message them at any point. They're like your form of contact, like if you have any issues or questions. Mine completely ignored me multiple times. Like, it would take me weeks to get through to this guy. I don't even remember what he's called. And when I did get a reply, it would be a couple word email. Then the actual lectures themselves, they would send us like PowerPoint slides before we'd go to them, and I'd read through them like, in preparation for the lecture. Then I'd go to the lecture and it would be not even a lecturer, like a student that's maybe doing like a master's or a PhD reading word for word these slides off a PowerPoint board. And I'm like, this is not tutoring, this is not teaching people, this is reading sentences on a board that I've already gone out of my way to read, and it's not even by an actual lecturer, and we're paying £9 a year tuition fees. We'd be set assignments and lab work, and if I didn't understand it, there was nobody that I could talk to. Just, I could not get in contact with anyone, and I felt like I just couldn't ask anybody for help. Even people on my course, like I would ask them and it just seemed like nobody had a clue what they was doing, nobody wanted to do it, nobody liked it. So I just felt so stuck. I was like, I can't do this, like I'm really struggling with it because I didn't have that passion. Like throughout school and college, I've always had a drive. Like I got almost straight 9s at GCSE, A stars and A's. And then I just could not figure out these assignments for the life of me on a course that was considered easier than a lot of others. And don't even get me started on referencing. Wow, that was like the cherry on top. Having to reference everything. I could write my name and they'd be like, where's your reference? My camera and phone just died at the exact same time, so I've just charged them both and we're back. Another thing that they started doing was we had employability sessions. I think these were like once a week. One of them, the very last one I went to, so they were talking about other stuff, and then at the end they were like how you could become an Aldi manager once graduating because the sporting industry was very oversaturated. That was what did it, because nothing bad about Aldi managers, but I'm sure you did it without a degree. Why am I going to get in 60 grand worth of debt to be an Aldi manager? It was so demotivating to think I'm going to get in all this debt and then not even do something I want to do. I feel like when I picked it, I did pick it off what I enjoy, which I would 100% say do, always, because if you work in a job that you love, you never work a day in your life. I'm sure you've heard that. And I just think whatever you're good at, you will earn money in. But because I wasn't enjoying it, I was like, what even is the point in this anymore? It got to a point where I was napping. If you know me, I am not a napper. It was like not being able to wake up in the morning, miss lectures. I would just lie in my room in the dark, depressed, really sad. Like I would just cry for hours, like every day, and I'd go home every single Friday. My granddad luckily worked in Leeds a lot of the time, so he would take me home on a Friday, take me back on a Monday, and as the months went on, that would slowly become like I'd go home on a Thursday and come back on a Monday, and then it'd be like I'd go home on a Thursday and come back on a Tuesday. So then I was paying the money for the accommodation. I was there for what, 2 nights, like some weeks. I would literally have 2 lectures a week. So again, I was like, what is the point in this? And I felt like everybody there was just there to postpone being an adult and getting a job and not being in education. Everybody was just obsessed with drinking. When I say everybody, like I was on the hunt to find friends that weren't obsessed with drinking. There was barely anyone. I will say I made a small group of friends on my course, 3 girls actually, and I think if I didn't meet them and become friends with them, I would have left way sooner than I did. They were genuinely the nicest girls I've ever met, and they were into sport, they were all in relationships. They were very similar to me, and you know what, still to this day, they're like the most supportive girls ever. Like they will comment on my stuff, they will message me. If you are watching this, like I actually have so much love for you, and you did make it so much more bearable and easier for me to get through them months. So then I was like getting in this really bad pit of depression. It's weird talking about it because I feel like I've not thought about this deeply since I left. I would think like, oh, I'm the reason, like I'm never gonna fit in anywhere, like it was me, and just like a really bad self-hatred. And my skin, I have had the clearest skin ever, and when I went to uni it broke out like mad, and I had really bad self-confidence issues. To say I don't think I've ever had a spot up until that point, like being 18. Maybe like the odd spot, and I think that just showed like because I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, or I'd sleep too much like in the day. I just wasn't taking care of myself, and it really showed. I fell out of love with the gym. Things that I'd always loved, I stopped loving because I was so sad. I was then arguing with my boyfriend, and I was just like so angry and sad all the time. In my head I was like, well, I need to do this because I have no other option. Like I've worked so hard to get here and there is no other option. I think that also comes from, we think that we have to go to uni to be successful because everyone tells you like you don't go, no degree, you're not going to get anywhere in life. If you don't like it and you don't want to go, you don't have to, and that doesn't mean you're going to be any less successful than somebody that goes. Right, on to the next category, which I wrote in my notes, which is the extracurricular, you can call them that, like the groups, you know, like sports, things like that. I signed up for the gymnastics one, which you have to pay like, I think it was honestly like £100 join for the year. So I paid that thinking, oh great, I can go. On top of that you had to pay, it was like £3 to £5 I think a week, can't remember exactly, if you wanted to go to a session. And also, not only that, the people that could go were limited, so you could pay £100 for the year and then you might not even be able to go because it's going to get booked up too quick. Because I didn't realise that, I barely got to go to any, so that was a waste of my money. I then joined onto the football. I'm not kidding, everything about the football was to do with drinking. They'd have a Wednesday sport night where you'd go out. It'd be like chugging beer, and whichever team loses you've got to chug this, and whoever plays the worst you have to do this many shots. Like, it was all about drinking. I was like, I actually cannot escape this about alcohol. I think I actually got voted most boring fresher because I didn't want to chug beer. I was already feeling really bad about myself, thinking like I'm the issue, like I'm not fitting in anywhere. And I get it was a joke and it's absolutely fine and they didn't mean anything by it, but you just don't know what someone's going through, and it was just like it really upset me. I was being labelled as boring because I didn't want to drink beer, basically. When I'd joined this football team to like try and make friends and try and meet people, it was horrible. I'd just come back from that and cry. I think I just stopped going. A question I get a lot is they always say like, how did you know you needed to drop out, and like how did you make that decision? I didn't. I was gaslighting myself for months. But I'd say like the end of February, March was when I was just getting so fed up, and I'd like tried so many times, like every week I'd tried, and I thought this is going to be weak, I'm going to end up loving it, I'm going to put all my effort into it, because I don't give up. I have never given up at anything in my life. I will work hard for something and I will try so hard, and I was trying so hard, but I didn't want to. And that's how I knew, because if I'd been like that in school and college I'd have got it, but I tried so hard at everything in my life and it had always worked out, and that was just not fun. At first I was scared to like say anything to my mum and dad and my family, because like I was scared that they were just going to tell me to stay, and some of them did. Like some of them was like, it's only 3 years, you might as well just do it. But I would be graduating now and I've done so much more with my life than I would have done if I'd have stayed there and be depressed. Most importantly, I'm happy, and the moment I left I was happy. You can't buy happiness. Like, I know it's cringe to say, but I wouldn't have been happy if I was still there. I was on the phone to my dad, and my mum and dad are the most supportive people ever, and I'm so grateful for that, because some people don't have that support and maybe told to stay or told that they're not going to get anywhere without this. But I'd kept it low-key. Like, I'd said things that I wasn't enjoying, but I'd never said like I need to leave. But I was like so upset one night and I rang my dad. I honestly, like, I can't stay here, and I was telling them like my plan, which wasn't really a plan at the time. It was like, at this point I had like maybe 20k on social media, but it's like post more on social media and get into modelling and get into marketing, which I'd just been researching. And he could tell I was really upset. Like, I was actually bawling my eyes out, and he was like, honestly, like, just leave. If it's making you this upset, if something's sucking all of the happiness out of you, well, I'm actually nearly crying. If something's sucking all of the happiness out of you, then like, what's the point? And my boyfriend as well, he was so supportive. He was like, just do, like, you don't want to be here. They knew like I'm not a lazy person. I'm not going to drop out and do nothing. Like, I'm so driven that I would drop out and I would do something. Sometimes you just have to give people a chance and not judge them. Like, at the end of the day, it's their lives, not yours. And I did get a lot of judgment. A lot of people I'd tell, a lot of people when I posted the initial few videos being like, I'm thinking of dropping out of uni. There was so much judgment. I was like, do you know what, I'm not listening to it, because it is not their life, it's my life. I had a little meeting with one of the lecturers and he was like, I recommend you stay, because and started giving me statistics like, if you drop out you're never going to get a wage above this, you're never going to do this. And at that point it didn't really hurt me when he was saying all that stuff, because I just knew in my head, I watch, like, when someone tells me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it, and 10 times better. And that's exactly what I did. So basically after that phone call with my dad, I went for a walk. It was snowing, I've got a video of it. It was dark. I was like bawling my eyes out walking around. I had this like sad girl playlist on my headphones. I just decided, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm not doing something I don't love anymore, and I believe that I will find something I love and I'll do it, and I'll be really successful. And then I went home. I had a holiday in the March, and then I remember telling like my uni friends. I went to a couple more lectures. Just felt so free. It was so freeing to know like I don't have to go back here anymore, and I wasn't even worried about what I was going to do. I was just so happy that I didn't have to go back there. Since I've dropped out, people have said, oh, do you ever regret dropping out of uni? Do you ever wish you got your degree? My camera's just died again, so I've just switched to my phone because I can't be bothered to keep charging it. Sorry if all the lighting and angles change and stuff. But what I was saying is, I've been asked so many times if I ever regret leaving uni, and I can honestly say there's not been a single day where I've thought, oh, I wish I stayed at uni. I left I had a vision and I made it come true. And I'm not saying it wasn't hard to be where I am now. And I'm going to do a whole separate video on how I got my job in marketing. I feel like a lot of you are watching this from TikTok, but if you don't know, I did get my dream marketing role at a beauty company against people with degrees. Stayed there for a year and now I'm self-employed. Please let this be a sign to do what you love. Never stay somewhere that makes you a shell of yourself, because we get one life. And also, don't be scared of judgment. People are going to judge you no matter what you do. So just do what you want. Don't ever let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do. I've probably missed out loads, and I don't want to be too rambly, but I am going to make another YouTube video of how I got my marketing role, how I became self-employed, growing as a content creator, navigating my life after dropping out of uni and the criticism. If you do want to hear that, make sure to subscribe. That will be very soon. Questions as well, I'm more than happy to answer. Love you, queens.